Hey guys, it's Rodimus Primal. I am back with another video, and today I am going to be talking about Avengers Endgame. And I'm going to be talking in a lot of spoilers and why I am done with the MCU. Not exactly what you think, so put your pitchforks down, sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Okay, so you're probably sitting here wondering why I say I am done with the MCU. Well, I really enjoyed Avengers Endgame. I saw it on Friday, and I wanted to wait until pretty much most of everybody saw it. And I think most people saw it because it made like over $1 billion this weekend. And I think it was a really awesome movie. I enjoyed sitting through all 3 hours of it. You know, being a 3-hour movie, of course, you're sitting there during the last act, trying to hold your bladder as best as you possibly can because there are so many people. The line for the bathroom when the movie was over was so long, and everybody waited until the end credits. And again, I'm talking spoilers with this movie, so I'm going to let you guys know there is no real end scene at the end of the credits. You only hear like a ting, 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 ting noise, so you don't have to sit for the credits. But I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. This movie has been the buildup of over 10 years of movies, and it ended where it began. And that's really what I'm talking about here when I say I'm done with the MCU, because we started this journey with Iron Man. We started this journey with Thor and Captain America and Hulk and Black Widow and Hawkeye, and really grew to love these characters and wanted to see them grow and see them continue to, adventure and do more stories that they could tell. But we know that there comes an endpoint to their chapter and their stories. And that's really where I felt that Endgame, and I don't think it disappointed either. Now, someone who's read the comics, I used to read a lot of X-Men and Spider-Man comics. The Avengers was not one of the main comic books that I used to read, but I did read any like Captain America crossover or when Iron Man showed up in Spider-Man. I would read a few Avengers comics here and there because sometimes the story would involve Spider-Man, so I wanted to see Spider-Man in those stories. And that's really the basis. I mean, of course, I try to keep up with the storytelling, so when the movies came out, it was like, oh my gosh, like they're really trying to make this universe work, especially for the fact that they don't have the Fox properties. They didn't have X-Men. They didn't have Spider-Man at the time, and now they have Spider-Man. But I was so excited to see this movie because, first of all, Infinity War was such a good movie. I really enjoyed Infinity War. I really liked Thor Ragnarok. I know some people have up and down feelings about Thor Ragnarok because of Thor's character shift in that movie, but I think it was a good transition into his character. I like the fact that they did the all Hulks unite and actually made a smart Hulk who is Bruce Banner who's talking, so he's Hulk all the time and he's Bruce Banner all the time. I think that was pretty cool the way they did that. And Captain America, what I really loved about his character was how he had his end moment. He pretty much, I would almost say that like Black Widow, Captain America, Iron Man, and Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, and Black Widow had their end for this story. And that, to me, really is like the closing chapter of the MCU. Because, okay, now we're moving forward. We can move forward with new characters, and new characters can tell stories, but I've grown invested in Captain America. I've grown invested in Iron Man. I've grown invested in Black Widow. I really wanted to see a Black Widow solo movie. I didn't want to see a Captain Marvel solo movie. Still haven't seen Captain Marvel. It's the only one MCU movie I have not seen, and it's just because it didn't look good to me. And then when she showed up on screen, I was like, I don't like her. I don't like her attitude. I don't like her, coming in like she owns the place. Meanwhile, these people have been, being superheroes for quite some time, and she treats them like they're garbage, and then she comes in like, well, I'm the superpowered one, and you didn't have me. And I was so thankful that they didn't ruin the established characters, that Black Widow and Scarlet Witch and, a lot of the established MCU characters, especially the women, had their fair share moment, and they didn't make Captain Marvel the centerpiece for this movie. They made us be able to enjoy all of the characters who were on screen. I would say that Nebula, oh my gosh, Nebula, I really hated her character in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and I grew to really love her character now, seeing that shift in wanting a sister and eventually growing into a character that we want to see more of. And I'm glad that she had her moment and she was able to go kill her old self and become something more than she was. I was glad that Wasp came back because, it's always been Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp were actually two founding members of the Avengers, so I was very thankful that they had at least some screen time. I was also happy to see Scarlett Johansson have a really good, strong character arc with Black Widow, and the fact that she sacrificed herself. I was really, really saddened by that because I didn't want her to go. I really, really didn't want her to go. I'll say it like again. I wanted a Black Widow movie. I would love to see how her character came to be, why she can't have kids, and had all of that stuff happen. Sure, we can read the comics, but her character has been a major staple in the storytelling. And I'm glad that Hawkeye, had his moment as Ronin, because he was Ronin in the comics. And when he was Ronin in the comics, we now have Kate Bishop, but now it's going to be a different character because he's probably going to be teaching his daughter to become the next Hawkeye. And I think that's going to be pretty cool, like that she can have a bow and arrow and she can shoot and stuff like that. I have kids, so wanting to teach them about the stuff that I like and I enjoy, and still having them being able to enjoy some of the new cool stuff that's coming out too is really fantastic. And him becoming Ronin because of it, I think was a really good story setup for him. And I didn't necessarily care for his haircut, but it is what it is. I was really surprised in the way the story shifted in trying to make the fix for, they had to go back in time because it was 5 years and the Infinity Gems were destroyed, and so now they had to come back and bring them back, and it didn't quite make sense because the main character that I had a big problem with continuity-wise was Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is in high school when he's dusted. He comes back and he's no longer dusted, and he's still in high school. It doesn't make sense. It's weird. It's kind of like you scratch your head and you go, it doesn't make sense. But I guess that's just where they're going with the character. They're probably going to tell some more Spider-Man tales. Maybe they can finally bring X-Men into the MCU. But now moving forward, especially now with the way that the movie ended. I was two things that made me really happy. Captain Marvel was not the one to kill Thanos, the present Thanos. It was Thor. Thor went for the head this time, and she didn't kill him when in the final battle. Instead, Scarlet Witch had more showtime, and I was really happy to see to see Scarlet Witch wipe the floor with Thanos before he beat her. And then the same thing, Captain Marvel came in like she was gonna run the place, and okay, yeah, she destroys Thanos' ship, but he takes the Power Stone and just uppercuts her, and I was like, good, because she's coming in with this nasty attitude, well, you didn't have me, blah blah blah. Well, we had really good heroes like Scarlet Witch, and now we have the Wasp, and now we had Black Widow, and now we have you. Okay, yeah, granted, you got superpowers, but you've got an attitude that doesn't necessarily make you a likable character, or we want you as part of the team, because clearly you don't want to be part of the team. Well, I'm going to be off in space. Fine, stay off in space, because I don't like her character. I really don't like her character. I didn't want to see her movie, and here now, after seeing the little bit of screen time she had in Endgame, I don't want to see a movie with her at all, and I want to see more other female characters. I want to see more Scarlet Witch. I want Scarlet Witch to be a main staple character of the MCU moving forward. She should, because she deserves it. And she showed off some of that awesome power that she has when she fought Thanos. And I was really sad that Scarlett Johansson's character, that Black Widow, had to sacrifice herself. I was sad that Iron Man sacrificed himself, but that was the closing chapter. But I'm going to get to that in a minute. And I know I'm bouncing from place to place with this. It's just because, like, this movie was 3 hours long. And it certainly did feel like 3 hours. Because the opening acts, the first, beginning of the movie, it felt like it was taking so much exposition and so much time to get to the climax. But once it finally got to that climax and that final battle, I was invested. I was in. But the middle of the movie really kind of like, all right, come on, we want to get there. We want to get to this time travel thing. Okay, you're going back and forth and you're making jokes and you're going back and forth here. I was kind of like, I don't know, I was just kind of felt a little bit bored, And I'm okay with that, but at the same time, like, this movie may have been split in two, and it could have been 2.5 hour movies. And it didn't feel like there were some scenes that could have made more sense if they had more screen time. Unfortunately, it seems a lot of stuff was cut for time, and this probably could have been a 4 hour movie or 2 hour movies, and you wouldn't have missed anything. Everything would have been a little bit more coherent. Instead, a lot of stuff seems to have been cut for time to try and make it one long 3 hour movie. But that end battle, man, it was like every single character, every single MCU character has their moment in the sun. And I think that was what I really enjoyed about this movie. Every single MCU character who was either some who were currently dead, or some of the characters who were, brought back. It was just amazing to see them all on screen, all fighting together, all having this grand epic battle against Thanos. And, Iron Man is the one to get the stones back, and he is the one who says, I am Iron Man. He sacrifices himself, and I was really sad about that. But at the same time, that was that he had his closure moment. Pepper Potts was in an iron costume, and he has a daughter now, and Captain America goes back in time and lives out his life with Peggy Carter, and becomes old man Steve and gives the shield to Falcon. And I know that's in the comics, and I'm actually glad about that, because it's something that did happen in the comics. So I'm happy that it does shift into things that did happen in the comics, giving him the shield, having Falcon become Captain America. I do think it should have been Bucky, but I think that having Falcon become the next Captain America first and then have Bucky become Captain America wouldn't be a bad thing. It's just that, this is the closure for Steve Rogers. And then Thor, going back and seeing his mom and basically having to, pick himself back up because he really let himself go. Literally let himself go. And so Thor now is traveling with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're going to be going and searching for Gamora because, Gamora is gone. And it's kind of sad, but a lot of these stories feel like they came to a close. And that's why I say I am done with MCU. Not that I'm done with it in a sense that I'm done with the MCU as like, it's terrible, it ruined the MCU for me. You had one character, and it's Captain Marvel. I don't like her. I don't want to see more movies with her. I really wish it would have been Monica Rambeau, had been, Captain Marvel. But, this to me felt like after 10 years of really being invested, this is where the story ends. Yes, to a lot of people, this is just a closing of one chapter. But to me, this felt like this is the ending. We've had we've invested in these characters for so long and loved these characters for so long. And I think now we've reached a point where we've reached an end, the MCU. And now we're, we're going to be turning the page, and we're going to see now where they're going to go. They had to have Spider-Man Far From Home, and they're going to probably do another Captain Marvel movie, which I'm not going to be so excited about. And it's going to be a whole new, all different Avengers team. And I'm kind of okay with that and kind of not okay with that. I would like to see Ant-Man and Wasp, and I'd like to see, Scarlet Witch. Vision's gone. I really wish they brought Vision back. That was one of the main reasons I was really happy to see Scarlet Witch have some screen time, because I felt her emotion. I would like to see Black Panther as part of the team. I would love to see a team just like that, led by, let's say, Ant-Man and Hulk. I know Scott Lang is kind of weird to have as a leader. Maybe, I don't know, like, that's the thing. It's like, who could lead the Avengers now? Because it was Hank Pym when, when you didn't have the others, right? Because when you didn't have Iron Man, you didn't have, if you didn't have Iron Man, Captain America, or Thor, who could lead the Avengers? Well, you could have Captain Marvel, but only, in my opinion, if it was Monica Rambeau. So I really don't want to see if it is Carol Danvers leading the Avengers. So I'm more invested in Guardians of the Galaxy. I want to see where they go with those characters. But now we're at a point with the MCU where you can really pick and choose what you want to see. I don't think they're going to do this grand, big, epic scale now. We've reached, like, the ending to the MCU in my mind, and the movie was good. It wasn't the best movie since sliced bread, and it wasn't the worst movie. It was really long. It was really enjoyable. I enjoyed it, and I hope the people who did see it and then sat through my review here did too. So I want to know what you guys think. What did you think of Avengers Endgame? Do you think this is the end of the MCU? Do you think that you guys are going to be done at this point, or are you really excited to see where they go from here? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to check out my other videos as well. I've got lots more videos coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Check me out on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out my main channel as well. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.